The Hartley Show is an entertainment program and does not own any of the copyrighted material featured in this episode. All copyrighted material featured will be used as fair use for the purposes of criticism, comment, news reporting, and/or research. Taki.
Today on The Hartley Show, we're coming to you from Seattle, Washington, home of the Emerald City Comic-Con. I'm here with Ramon Terrell, actor, writer, all-around swell guy. Ramon, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing great.
So why don't you tell us a little about the stuff you write?
I'm a writer of epic fantasy and urban fantasy, and my first book in the epic fantasy series, Echoes of a Shattered Age. Basically, 30-story tall demons, ninja demon hunters, you name it. Fast-paced, action-packed, it's great. A lot of fun. And urban fantasy is my vampire series, Hunter's Moon, the first being Running from the Night. And basically it's a vampire series, and it's based in Vancouver, BC. So I had to give a shout out there. It's a beautiful place. And starts off with a guy goes off for a jog, thinks he's witnessing a murder. He witnesses a vampire feeding. So now he's got vampires all over his back. If he can't get him off his back, he's going to die, his best friend's going to die, and all their friends are going to die.
Sexy.
Oh, yeah. It's awesome.
Sorry, you said 3 parts in the series? Four.
Yeah, there's 4 books in this series. And eventually I'm going to start a new one, but right now there's 4.
So there will be another series in this line of books?
Absolutely.
All the same through characters?
There'll be some new characters, but it's going to be the primary, the same core group.
Nice. What is it you're working on right now?
Right now, I'm actually in rewrites and re-edits for the current publishers, picked up my books, Wordfire Press. But I will be working on the second book in a saga of ruination, and that one is probably going to be around 8 or 9 books.
Copy that.
Yeah, it's going to be a wild ride, man.
Well, Ramon, thanks for your time, and we'll talk to you tomorrow night at your release party thing.
Absolutely.
That was basically English, right?
Yeah. Release party, launch party thing.
I'm here with Miss Marvel, a.k.a. Jasmine. Jasmine, a pleasure to be here with you today.
Yes, likewise. I'm so excited to be at Comic-Con.
So now, obviously, there's all sorts of issues in relation to Miss Marvel. This is sort of hotbed of people terrified that her being a Muslim is some sort of covert way to try to convert people into Islam, which, of course, is ridiculous.
It is.
So my first question is, are you Muslim?
I'm not Muslim. I'm actually Sikh.
Nifty.
Yeah.
So you were not converted, although you're kind of in the same sort of category, right?
You're right. Definitely a smaller religious group in India. So not as widespread as Islam, but some similar values and some good crossovers.
So what's your take on Miss Marvel as a character?
I think Miss Marvel is important because instead of propagating Islam, what she's actually tackling in her comic is the difficulties that first-generation immigrants have. So the reason I immediately connected with this character wasn't because of religious values, but because of cultural values. She has Pakistani parents. I am Pakistani, or half Pakistani, half Indian. And so some of the things she struggles with are things that I struggle with. Growing up in America, wanting to wear the American clothes and eat the American foods, but having your parents be like, that's bad, and dating boys is bad, and that was my upbringing.
Right. Now, the book is written by a Muslim, so obviously she's coming at it from a personal experience standpoint.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing, from everything you're saying right now, that it really does speak true to the experience.
It really does, and even like some of the words used and the dialect spoken are completely accurate. I understood, it's not like they're using a fake dialect or language in there. I mean, just the words they use for like father and daughter and the terms of endearment. I mean, it's all perfect, and I think that's why it resonates. But I think it resonates with the bigger audience because it's a girl who's going against the grain. And I don't think you have to necessarily be Pakistani or Muslim to connect with it. I think that even boys can connect with it because it's being the not cool kid in school, but being totally okay with that. I mean, she plays World of Battlecraft, I think is what she calls it. And she writes Wolverine fanfic, and she's a total fangirl who has her dream come true of getting superpowers, and watching her struggle through the awkwardness of going through adolescence and becoming a superhero in the middle of it is actually just super heartwarming to watch that journey and watch her grow as a person.
Fantastic. Now, I got to take a moment to acknowledge this is a remarkable outfit. And you made this all yourself, I take it?
Yes, 100% made by me.
How long did it take?
About a month. Some of the spandex applique was very time consuming, so.
Actual spandex, yeah?
Yes. 100% spandex, and it's getting like all the piping on straight and getting it to not look puckered or janky was pretty difficult. So that was where most of the construction came from.
Is the mask stuck on with spirit gum?
Yes, and it's been custom molded to my face with Warbla, so it actually sits on there pretty well. I made it all myself, and the spirit gum just locks it in even better.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And again, what a fantastic outfit.
Thank you so
Well
much.
done.
Thank you.
I'm here with a couple of minions. Hey, minions, how you doing?
You're great.
Do you read comics? If so, what is your favorite character?
Don't actually read a whole lot of comics. I'm afraid to get into that because I'd have to go and get all of them.
Yeah, me neither.
Well, obviously you're cartoon fans. So are the minions your favorite characters from Venture Brothers?
We picked this one because it would be pretty easy to put together. This is the first time I actually made a costume. I'm a big fan of the Monarch and Dr. Girlfriend, definitely.
Good stuff. Thank you, minions. So if you could introduce yourself and tell us what this remarkably titled American Terrorist thing is all about.
My name is Tyler Chin-Tanner. My graphic novel American Terrorist is about protest and revolution in the U.S. Sort of takes this Occupy movement, or what can people do to change. You know, we all complain about it. We all are affected negatively by the wealth inequality, the loss of rights, the overpowering Big Brother idea. So 4 citizens in my story kind of set off on their own outside of the law, feeling that their best chance is to work outside of the system in order to break it, and they inspire this movement through social media and people following them and seeing what they do. And it's all about, you know, what can be done, you know, asking the questions and trying to answer, you know, what can we do as just a person to change things.
Well, I have to ask, are you politically active yourself in any way?
I'm on a very local level. I'm pretty active in the community. I have supported some candidates, but mostly, you know, I deal with, you know, organizations that are involved in health and natural foods and fighting against antibiotics and local farming, and that's mostly where I concentrate on, you know, organizations and being active myself.
Great stuff. Now let me just take it back to the world of geekery.
Okay.
What kind of comics are you interested in, man?
I read mostly independent comics. I think maybe the Spider-Gwen is the only like superhero one. I love Stray Bullets and Love and Rockets. Those are my 2 favorites that I get like as soon as they come out. I do kind of like the genre action movement kind of stuff, but it's mostly like the indie guys, things doing something different.
So what comic writers inspire you?
The ones that inspire me. Well, Greg Rucka is doing a lot of really cool stuff right now. I love Lazarus. I should have mentioned that one. Yeah, David Lapham with Stray Bullets, my favorite. Hernandez Brothers, just go to repeat that stuff. Yeah, those are my favorites. Yeah.
So in closing, if you were to sum up American Terrorist in one quick little pitch, what would it be?
Well, I would say it's about protest and what the average person can do to change their situation, the political climate. Is that good?
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time, man.
Thank you.
I'm here with James, Tiberius, Kirk, and the original Miss Marvel. How you guys doing today?
We're pretty good today.
Now, I have to ask, do you read comics? And if so, what are your favorite characters?
Yeah, I do. I guess I go back to a long time ago with when Batman went dark with Frank Miller is where I really started paying a lot of attention to them. Gotten kind of boring before then. But actually Green Lantern, of all of them, is still the guy that I consider my favorite. Hal Jordan, yeah. The first ones I read were Hal and Oliver Queen on their road trips. But I was so fascinated by the fact that this guy could do anything as long as he focused it in his mind and he had his little magic ring with him. So those were the kinds of things I started reading.
It was the Hard Traveling Heroes storyline, yeah? Denny O'Neil and Neil Adams, yeah?
Exactly.
Fantastic. Now, I have to ask, do you guys cosplay very often?
Usually at the different cons we go to about 3 or 4 a year. And then we spend the time between the cons figuring out what we're going to wear for the next time.
So, do you read comics at all?
He occasionally buys Buffy, the TV show Serenity.
Since you're wearing the Miss Marvel uniform, I have to ask, and since you're the comic nerd, I'll direct this towards you, what do you think of the whole new Miss Marvel thing, being a Muslim and all that?
I'm perfectly fine with that. It's interesting. I wonder what it's going to do to their sales numbers, because at the end of the day, if nobody buys it, that's going to be is that bad on them or bad on us, right? Because there has to be a little bit of profit there to keep it going. But I'm perfectly fine with characters needing to be replaced. Something like an intergalactic police officer, like a Green Lantern or something there, you have to have some turnover that's natural over time. And so I'm perfectly fine with that becoming, changing gender, changing race, changing orientations, whatever they need to do.
You are not a short-sighted man, Mr. Tiberius. Thank you so much for your time, guys.
Alrighty.
I'm here with Dave Butler, author of all this stuff here. Dave, would you care to tell us about your books?
Oh yeah, so I read a number of stuff that's available now. For example, I'm the author of Rock Band Fights Evil, which is an ongoing serial about the adventures of a rock and roll band of damned musicians. That's a comic action horror, sort of in the vein of Hellboy or Hellblazer. I've got a dark science fiction series called, well, the first book's out, it's called Kreshling. And I like to tell people it's not a romance novel. It's a story about monofilament weapons and people who get chopped in half, and initiation by rituals of murder, and a young woman who refuses and thereby becomes a refugee.
So by monofilament thin, you mean, well, you said monofilament weapons. You mean
did.
super, super thin.
I mean super thin. I mean whips or bolas, the cord of which is 1 molecule thick. So it'll slice right through steel, stone, flesh, bone, whatever. Yep.
That is creepy. You got more books here to pimp out?
So I'm here with Wordfire Press, which carries the series I'm talking about today. But I'm also got an upcoming book with Knopf, with an imprint of Random House. So next summer, look for a book called The Kidnap Plot, which is a steampunk fantasy for middle readers. It's a retelling, an action fantasy retelling of Pinocchio. A little boy's father is kidnapped. The boy goes to rescue him, and in the process learns that he is not a flesh and blood boy. He is an automaton, and in fact a weapon. And the man who thought was his father is a refugee mad scientist. So that's coming out next year. Right now I've got a steampunk novel called City of the Saints, which is set in the western United States in 1859 and pits as competing secret agents against each other, Sam Clemens and Edgar Allan Poe.
Fantastic.
Thank you. It is.
Well, Dave, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And enjoying the con, yeah?
Oh, I'm loving it. Thrilled to be here in Seattle.
So there you have it, Emerald City Comic-Con. As always, a huge thanks to you for watching, and a massive thanks to the city of Seattle and Emerald City Comic-Con for bringing us to the show.